God that talks to Gabriel and talks to his flesh soul. What will you do? It's a time to come to God. Make God happy. Please God. I don't exactly care what part of the world you are from. Oh, mighty United States, great Babylon. Or Babylon, great United States. I get the two confused, or maybe I don't. What is Babylon? Many of you have read. Is it the United States? Now you are concerned, aren't you? God can take time, He can take revelation, and He can crunch it into a very short time period, which is not good for you, as He talks to a human soul. I repeat, He's just talking to a human soul no different than He did with Jesus a few times, not all the time. And sometimes the soul will talk and preach. You have to understand that this is a time to make God happy. I'm making it very abundantly clear that, well, now God is here. It is different. He controls everything, from the air that you breathe, from the stars that you look up upon, and just about everything from the land that you walk on and even beneath it, even the volcanoes. So now, as your north and south poles start to move quite rapidly, and your poles start to flip, that is not a good thing. Do you want this event to happen very shortly, or do you want it to slow down? That's all up to you. Not many people have believed in God, and the ones that did believe, you do what God asked you to do. How many of you even follow the 10 Commandments? It's not the 2 commandments or the 1 commandment. So many sins out there. So many tests, even down to if you have a perfect body. If you are a perfect body girl today, maybe God just fooled you. Well, He gave you that perfect body, even though maybe you work out. What do you do with that body? Do you search for power? Do you search for greed? Do you search for money? What is it that you search for? Well. Do you stand in these long lines to get in these clubs to find that rich man? Maybe God's test to you. Even my own son, I showed him. So many tests, even to the governments, even down to a perfect body girl. Even down to the man in the street that's broke, that has no money. How many times do you hand him, say, a dollar bill? Hand him anything. I'm in the United States right now. I'm talking to his son in the United States, so I said the dollar bill that's backed by what? Nothing. You have to understand that God is the supreme being. Maybe He was gone, but one day He would come back, and one day He would make it known. And maybe in Las Vegas, say a few months ago, He made it known very clearly, and they have been tracking the sun. He does get everything right. Everything right about world history and events, even down to who might break up, who won't break up, but even down to this election, even down to just about anything, even down to how your planet is falling in pieces, falling apart. Your scientists do seem very concerned. And why do you think that they're trying just about everything to get off this planet? They know. They're just scared. The thing is, many of these scientists, when God let them see what was out there, when it was time, many of them have now turned to God. And many of the scientists, one of God's enemies now, they believe in God because they've seen what's out there. They have heard what is out there. What is the city of God? the son that I talk to, no matter what you do to him. Let's make it clear. The days of Jesus, God stood by and just let you torture him. Those days are over. This time, if you read Revelation, there's no mention of torture. God will not allow that, and he could have stopped that then. That was for you. That whole entire time was for you to turn to Jesus. And even Jesus has to answer to somebody, and that is his Father. You might have to ask yourself, well now, if Jesus and his Father both are here, and many of the angels, what exactly is coming? I wouldn't be too concerned with what exactly is coming. There are many keys in Revelation, and his chosen son knows almost just about every key, and he has proven that. And unfortunately for most of this world now, we are starting to hit the sections of 8 and 9, which have to deal with volcanoes and earthquakes and fires. And most of these sections 8 and 9 have a great deal that they deal with a lot with volcanoes. And what's under the ground is magma, the magma pool. You start to change the direction of magma, well, it's quite dangerous. So as those poles, north and south, start to move, it's going to be quite scary. So now this is the time for you to believe in God, that now he tries to talk through a human soul, which is not very easy to do. And he's done this before on that radio station. And then the soul then told you everything the last few months, what would happen, and now they are happening. Why the soul? Why not? This soul has had past lives. And if you don't believe in past lives, and God says to you, then you might not make it. You might not have eternal life then. And even angels themselves have walked this earth, and not just earth, many planets, so many times. It's their duty. And now, another secret, and there'll be other videos where then God will discuss heaven and hell, and so many secrets that even a scientist will be glued to these videos. See, it's not easy to talk through, so I just thought, why not tip my hat just like God did that hurricane? Where that hurricane goes, well, that's up to God, and I guess that's up to you and your faith. It's a time to believe in God for all nations to come together and realize what is out there. And God does realize that now. You do realize that there is something out there. But you have to make that something out there happy. And now that something out there is here. Plugged and fused into just about everything that, well, breathes and smells and eats and drinks. And now it's his warning signs. And sorry about the raspy voices. Now I'm speaking through this soul. It's not an easy thing. So now it's your test. What will you do? And it will be quite a many videos coming out. He'll give you the secrets, or God will give him the secrets to give to you, or God, the Holy, might then speak to him and tell you all these secrets. But trust me, this is a test no different than all the other tests. Not only for just the common man, but even down to the governments and even the preachers and even the churches. You too, many of you have not passed the test even though you thought you did. Now is the time to start reading many of God's books. For you to know that there is something out there. Oh boy, there's something out there, and now it's here. and now surrounds your planet. And I'm not threatening this planet. Is it your planet, or are you just running it? Or is God just going to slowly take it back? Or maybe God is just giving you a chance. In the days of Jesus, you had everything wrong in your planet. Well, at least that civilization was pulverized. Now you have another chance. Who is the Lamb? What is the Lamb? Where is the Lamb? What is this all about? Maybe get things right again. God could terrify this world. Once he had to terrify his sons, his daughters, the archangels. One time they were teenagers, young, but very powerful, very powerful. Even a young archangel is very powerful. So once he took them to a planet, through a portal in space, to another dimension actually, got through quite fast. There they were, young and naive, very young, laughing, joking around like they always did. It was a pleasure raising them. Even God has his favorites. They were his sons. He still thinks about those days. But there was that planet, and he said, focus. I want you to focus on this planet. Took a little time, and they finally quit goofing around and joking around. And I said, focus on this planet. Look at it. And they looked. There was that planet, and God raised his hand. Are you watching? Are you watching? Just when all of them were watching, blew up. Planet blew up right in front of them. Planet about the size of Earth. And then my one son said to me, he said, how did you do that? And I said, shouldn't the question be why? And what was that response I gave to him? It was for him to see. Sorry, I'm still talking to a human soul. As much as they thought they were powerful, and trust me, they were powerful, it was for them to see who was boss. That no matter how powerful they would or become, they can't just do that. And even when God showed them this, their father showed them this, there still was a war in heaven. And yes, one clown did not pass the test, and he created a mighty serpent, or dragon serpent. Doesn't matter. They still argue over what it was he created, and somebody defeated him by going in and out of dimensions, to one dimension and to another, and stabbing that serpent in the eyes where it could not see. But where was God? Where was their father? Where was he? Pretended he wasn't there. Oh, he was there, he was watching, and if it got out of hand, he would have stopped it. But he's quite serious. He's quite intrigued to see, well, who would win, what side would pick what side, who would pick good, who would pick bad, who would go against God, who would actually go against his own father, who would actually create a war in heaven against his own father, and who would side with that side, and who would go against that side. And of course, Lucifer did not pass that test. Well, that's how hell was born. And then all the ones that followed Lucifer, the fallen angels, I'm sure you heard about them. Now they have run hell. But God created hell, and he needed someone to run hell. And that's what that was all about. The thing to think about was this. They didn't listen. He didn't listen. The ones that followed him didn't listen. No, they don't want him either. They just run it. But who controls Lucifer? His father. So when Lucifer says, and he tries to do this to his father, I might sneeze. That's about it. Can't blow up a planet. He himself, as powerful as he is, and trust me, he is very powerful. He can't hurt Father. He listens to Father. And now he has tricked you. It's all been a test. Earth is a test. Earth has always been a test. It always will be a test till it is time. Sorry about the voice as I am talking to you through this soul, and his voice is breaking down. Why did I do this? Is to prove to you that there are some things that you yourself will have to have a test of faith, no different than when there was the war in heaven, and God stood back, and he laughed. No different than now, all these years. God ran Earth. Or did he run Earth? Or did man run Earth? Look how out of whack it is. Nothing makes sense. God created all this. God stood back. Now God has been tipping his hand. And now God now talks to this Son of God. Yes, a Son of God is much different than a preacher for God. No different than the days of Jesus. Now he speaks through a chosen Son of God. What will you do? Will you believe? Now you hear what happens if you don't.